Kenny, who has 3 minutes almost.
Thank you, Dr. Corla. First of all, I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak on this today because I represent very much a border constituency. The constituency stretches right around the border, and one of the main areas in it is the Central Border Area region. And a couple of weeks ago I visited Ickban and Enniskillen and spoke to the CEO there about the difficulties that they have with the funds that they have to try and do a reasonable job for economic development as it stands at present. Never mind in the context of Brexit, and particularly in the context if we have a no-deal Brexit. And what they're talking about is the need for investment, the need for infrastructure, because you have a huge area stretching probably from Lifford right around to Newry, where you don't have any big cities, you don't have any big towns. It's primarily rural. The border has made people face away from each other rather than face toward each other. And in the context of that, they need investment now. They need to see that there will be something put in place for them and these communities to be able to survive the impact of what Brexit will be. Many of these people are people who work both sides of the border. They cross the border and transverse to work. They want to know what's going to happen with their taxation situation if there's no deal Brexit. Even they have assurances under health at the moment that if people who live in the south and work in the north that they're entitled to a medical card because they are in effect frontier workers under EU legislation. That will no longer be the case. You also have the whole issue of exports and as mentioned earlier about insurance on vehicles crossing the border. But also you have product crossing the border and that product is insured. And will that insurance extend into a non-EU state? If people are transporting product across the land bridge, as we call it, across Britain, will the insurance not be in place while it crosses that land bridge any longer? There's questions like this that people have all over the country, and they don't see that government is stepping up the mark to answer these questions. One of the primary things that we all feel should be in place by now is there should be an absolute assurance that state aid rules will be set to one side, that Europe will recognise that we are going to be in a very precarious position, and that on the table in Europe at this point, Minister, we should be seeing proposals to see the millions that we will need to have invested in our ports, that in our roads, in our infrastructure, that we should see proposals there to get that money and get it back into Ireland to try and negate the worst possible impacts of Brexit. Many people understand that they're going to have huge problems in processing all the customs and the duties and the VATs and all of these things, which there's no expertise there at present to do if we're in a no-Brexit situation. EU trade and state rules need to be set to one side, and that needs to happen as quickly as possible. Finally, Minister, the old chestnuts, and many of them have been around for the last 40, 50 years, as to why Irish unity isn't possible and what the problems are with it. Many of those things have been put to bed recently. And certainly the economic benefits are there for all to see. And I think everyone recognises now on this island that the possibility of a 32-county economy, of a new Ireland emerging from this, is something that's very positive. And it's something that's positive even without Brexit. And we need to be focusing on that and working on that. The old sectarian divisions that were used as excuses in the past are no longer there in the modern era. And that is a good thing. But, Minister, we really need to see that the government is going to step up to the mark and put investment into these communities, because that's exactly what's needed.